Tonight, I'm trying something new with Charlotte entrepreneurs, and we are doing a virtual networking event. I've done events for the past almost 3 years now, and I did some real estate events before then. And there's an inevitable push to want to look at the metrics and to want to figure out how to maximize the number of people there. And also, more importantly, there's always a push to an internal push at least to determine my personal worth based on the number of people that are on the screen, or the number of people that sign up, the number of people that show up, whatever that may be. I bring this up today because A, because I've got this event coming up in an hour and a half, and B, because this has come up a few times this week with members of the community talking about different things that they're working on, or people that have come to Charlotte Entrepreneurs events recently that are interested in bringing people to some type of event. One of the guys in the community was on the hot seat earlier this week, and he was talking about webinars and how he's looking at bringing some people into that. And another one was talking about her business and talking about wanting to host an event and bring 40 some people in there. And part of my advice and feedback and push for all of that was to not worry about the numbers and just do it, which is ironic because it's pot calling the kettle black, because I judge myself on this so hard. And I'll tell you about that in a second. But there's a lot of people that get discouraged, myself included sometimes, when they see a low number, when they don't have many people show up. I had in April of 2026, I ran 3 events. I had our main monthly networking event at Heist Brewery, and then I decided to launch something new. It's called the Morning Table, and so we did a morning event. You might be shocked by the name, and I did 2 back-to-back events. One of them was down in South Park. One of them was up in Cornelius. And so by doing these 3 events, I figured I would just put myself out there. We get a bunch of people coming to the events. I ran ads to them. I had gotten some pretty good attendance at previous events at the main one. And so I thought, why not? We've got momentum right now. Let's push it. Let's see what happens. At the end of March, my family and I went on a trip up to Black Mountain. We spent a week up there, and we did a little bit of work from there, and really just had a beautiful time with the family. And when I came back, the first event, the main event, was April 15, and then the 2 morning table events were the following week. And we got back first weekend of April. I think it was April 3rd or something like that. And I looked at Eventbrite, and between these 3 events, I had 7 people signed up. And I about shit myself. I thought, are you fucking kidding me? I'm the first time that I do this, and I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna fall on my face. And I almost canceled it. And we ended up getting to the main flagship event, and we had a pretty sizable group. I think we had 30 plus people that came, but we still had very few signed up for the following week. Actually, I think on Wednesday, I can't remember exactly, but I think on Wednesday, going into that first event down in Valentine, pretty sure there were either 2 or 3 people signed up. And 2 out of the 3, or one, I think maybe 2 people signed up, and then one person verbally said they were coming. But there was only one person there that was a paid guest that signed up. Everybody else was a member of the community already. And so I'm looking at this thinking, oh man, this one guy that paid $35 for this, like, what the fuck am I doing? How is this going to be valuable for him? He is going to look at this, and he's been a part of a couple events, but he's going to look at this and be like, dude, this is terrible. I want my money back. And so I start freaking out. I almost cancel the damn event, but I end up going through with it. I had a plan to rent out this space. It's the Lights Cafe down in Valentine, and Luis was absolutely amazing. But my plan was to rent out the entire space. It's what we do with our normal monthly events, and that's what I figured I would do here. Is the norm. And a couple days before the event, I was like, hey man, let's just keep it open. We'll get a table. I have no idea if anybody's going to show up at this point. I have no fucking clue. And he's like, all right, that's fine. And so we have one table. Still only 2, 3 people signed up, whatever it was. Well, we get there in the morning. I start getting a couple of things out for whoever shows up. The guest shows up. The other person that signed up comes, and another member comes. And then all of a sudden, 4 or 5 more people walk in the door. And we ended up having probably 7 or 8 people at this event. And and it was incredible. It was absolutely fucking incredible. If there had been 15 people, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have been anywhere near as good as this event was. And I shared something at that event as we talked about success, ironically, and I gave the example of how I almost shut this down, I almost canceled this event. And afterwards, my buddy Gianni, shout out to Gianni, just an incredible human being. He and I were sitting down together, and after everybody else had left, and he's like, "Man, I hate to hear that you almost canceled it, and that you were so in your head about it, and that you were so concerned that it wasn't going to be good." And he had given me a couple of pep talks before, and he's been around the community for a while, and he's been a member for a bit, and he's a believer in everything that Charlotte Entrepreneurs is and stands for. And he always reminds me of who I am. And he just looked at me and he's like, "Man, I wish you could see yourself the way that I see you." And he proceeded to tell me about how great the event was and how it didn't matter if one person came or if 7 people came or if 37 people came. It would have been good no matter what, because that's just who I am and what I do. And in that moment, it still doesn't always resonate for the next day or the next month or the next event or whatever. But in that moment, I had this feeling and this knowing that he was right, and that even if there had been one person, it would have been a one-on-one coaching session, and it would have been great, and we would have had a fantastic time, and it would have been incredibly valuable, because the numbers don't fucking matter. When I launched the mastermind side of Charlotte Entrepreneurs, at the time called Becoming Kinetic, when I launched that, my initial push to try to get people to join was to do webinars. And so I ran probably a dozen webinars. Out of those dozen webinars, I think there were 2 that actually had people that showed up. The rest of them was just me talking to a screen, rehearsing by myself. And I learned a ton. The current format of Charlotte Entrepreneurs, with the workshop style that we do at our events, that spawned because there was a December back in, I think it was 2024, when there were about 10 people signed up, and I started freaking out and panicking and judging my self-worth and thinking, well, shit, this is going to be terrible. So how about I make this into more of a workshop style interaction so people get value out of it in addition to whatever networking they get? And the bottom line was, it worked so well that it stuck, and it became the new norm. And that's now how we do things, because the numbers don't fucking matter, especially if the value is there. So whatever it is that you're planning to do, whatever it is that you're planning to grow, whatever you're trying to put out there, whether it's a webinar, whether it's an event, whether it's just simply a networking event that's going to be on Zoom, like the one that I have in an hour and 10 minutes, numbers don't matter. Just do it. Just show up. Just commit. Because if one person finds it valuable, it's worth it. If one person gets some type of change or transformation or something from it, and you never know what that might be, if one person does, it's totally worth it. And on the flip side, if you canceled, what if I canceled that morning? Come to find out, one of my buddies that was there had just said goodbye to his aunt that he was really close to, and he showed up at that morning event, and that connection was important to him. That morning was important to him. That support and people around him that loved him and cared about him was important to him. Imagine if I had canceled and it cost him that connection and that love. The numbers don't matter. The value does. The transformation does. Just fucking do it anyway.